This video is full of more fun formulas to use for trig functions. This is the product to sum and sum to product identities, and they actually allow you to change addition expressions to multiplication and multiplication expressions to addition using these trig formulas. There are quite a few of them. You'll see the product to sum formulas are listed here at the top. You're taking two trig functions that are being multiplied and you are expanding them out into a sum or subtraction. But notice that some of them are additions and some of them are subtractions, but they all have a half in the front. And all of these have been derived in some form or fashion. The second set of formulas there, you can see that it's two trig functions being added or subtracted turned into a product. I'm not sure what happened to the note sheet there, but those are twos at the bottom there. I have very good news for you. The good news is you do not have to memorize these formulas. So I'm not going to put a red star by these. You do not have to memorize them. You can be able to use them on your formulas as needed. Okay, you'll be able to refer to your formula sheet to use these product or sum. When I say formula sheet, maybe I should have said note sheet, because these are not located on your formula sheet because you do not have to memorize those. But you do have to be able to use them. So let's do a couple of examples of using them. Express each product as a sum or difference. So notice I have sine of an angle. So there's my angle, 6x, times sine of 2x. So it's sine times sine. Well, that's the same thing as 1/2, using my formula from the top, cosine of the angles being subtracted plus cosine of the angles being added. I almost went to my other problem over there. So that is changing from a product to a sum. Now we can simplify this a little bit more as we go on. We can simplify those parentheses to be 1/2 cosine of 4x, right? Because we can simplify that, plus cosine of 8x. And now it's written as a product of two trig functions. Let's try this one over here on the right. This one is cosine times cosine. So when I look at my cosine times cosine formula, it's 1/2 cosine of the angles being subtracted. Notice that I'm subtracting them both of these times, the first minus the second one. You don't just choose the rotation that you would like to change them. You change them, you make them the first one minus the second one. Plus cosine, let's see if I can squeeze this in there, of 9x plus 2x. Bracket. So let's simplify that to be 1/2 cosine of 7x plus cosine of 11x. And now that has been changed from a product to a sum. Very easy to use. Very easy to use. And it's all based on these formulas right here at the top is where I got that information. I just filled in angles for the alpha and the beta in these two examples. Now, let's go the other way. Let's take a sum and turn it, or this one's a sum or difference, and turn it into a product. So this one is sine of an angle plus sine of an angle. So if I do sine plus sine, it's 2 sine of the angles being added together divided by 2 times cosine of the angles being subtracted divided by 2. Whew, good thing you don't have to remember all these, right? You just got to be able to look at them, plug your information in, and then simplify them. So that would be 6x plus 2x is 8x divided by 4 divided by 2 would be 4x. And then cosine, that would be 4 divided by 2. That one would be 2x. I guess the thing to remember as a trig no-no would be never do you multiply a number in the front inside the parentheses. You can always simplify what's inside the parentheses, but never simplify it with a number that's in the front. So you can see that this original sum problem has now been written as a product of two trig functions. Let's do one more. Let's do a difference. Let's do cosine minus cosine. It's the only one, if you look back at those formulas, it's the only formula that has a negative in the front. Cosine minus cosine has a negative in the front, which is why I put it up here for us to discuss. So this is the same thing as negative 2 times sine of the angles being added, so 7x plus 5x divided by 2. Sine of the angles being subtracted divided by 2. So that's negative 2 sine of 7 and 5 is 12. That would be 6x. 7x minus 5x is 2x. 2x divided by 2 is 1. And this is it. It's a product written from a difference of two trig functions. Oh, I see there that I missed an x, so we'll make sure that x gets in there, okay? The last thing I need to say on this video is do not switch the order, right? It's always first plus the second angle or first minus the second one. If for some reason inside your parentheses you come up with like a 3x minus 4x divided by 2, and that would give you a negative x divided by 2 or negative 1/2 x inside your parentheses for these, that is okay. Okay, you can have a negative angle inside these parentheses, which ends up talking about even and odd properties, but do not be alarmed if you see that. It's perfectly fine to end up with that in your parentheses for your final answer. And that is product to sum and sum to product formulas. Once again, you do not have to memorize these. You only have to be able to use them.